Good morning, good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to another Geek Tavern. As always, it's me, Shawn. I'm joined by Mike.
Hello.
And Aaron.
Yo.
And today we're talking about Aaron's recommendation, Armageddon, Michael Bay film from the year
1998.
1998.
Yes.
It is indeed a Michael Bay film from the late 90s. So the synopsis of the movie is an asteroid is hurtling towards Earth the size of Texas, and they call it a global killer. It will wipe out all of mankind if it impacts the Earth. So NASA and its scientists are trying to come up with a plan, and the only logical one that they come up with is to hire the best oil driller on the planet, and his team to go up to drill the hole in the asteroid, drop a nuke, and leave. That's the plot of the movie. We have a ragtag group of A-list cast. Well, now A-list cast. I mean, maybe in the late 90s they weren't, but like everybody, everybody in this movie.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this movie, but every single person who pops up on screen practically. I've always loved this movie. I still love this movie. Not as much as I used to, but I still love this movie. Because I really liked this movie in high school. I was on like a big disaster movie kick, and this was one of the ones that I discovered, and it was my favorite for a long time, and it probably still is my favorite between this and Deep Impact. But it's a sci-fi action space adventure movie. And it's a Michael Bay movie, so you're going to have fun one way or the other.
It's basically a disaster movie.
Yeah.
The first asteroid that comes down, or the piece of asteroid, I believe they said they were basically the size of basketballs. I knew what to expect, but I didn't expect it at that moment. It basically just smacks that dude in the face.
Oh, yeah. It goes through his suit and everything. And
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the guy with the dog at the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then the Godzilla.
Yeah, the guy with the Godzilla collectibles outside, and he gets hits directly by one of the asteroids or meteorites, I guess it is, and he is still there. When it shows him pulling the dog out of the crater.
Yeah, his body was still there.
So his back had snapped, but he's there. I'm like, nah, he would have just been vaporized.
Yeah.
There'd be nothing left. Yeah. Which is what I thought it was.
Yeah.
They show you down in the hole and he's in there.
Yeah.
It's how's he alive? Well, he's not alive, but
Clearly.
How's he still in one piece?
But the other dude with the dog is fine.
Yeah.
Even though it's
that's why I think it must have hit kind of behind him.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it actually directly hit him. Yeah, so anyway, disaster movie as well.
Yeah.
The tone of the movie is so bizarre. Because the beginning of the movie, it's a mixture of oh, this is imminent danger, but we also have scenes of that farm dude, and he's just screaming at his wife.
Oh yeah,
and saying,
"Go get my goddamn phone book."
Yeah, and then we have that ridiculous scene where with the dog and the Godzilla dude, and then it's almost comical scenes, and then by the end of the movie, it's these deadly serious tones. I don't know, it's strange.
It is kind of all over the place. I noticed that pretty quickly too.
And I want to say this is one of Michael Bay's first feature films, because he was partnered with Jerry Bruckheimer for a while, and I think this was I think it was one of his first feature films, and it shows because of the way that the tone is off the rails practically.
I don't know if he's ever recovered from that. I mean, maybe recently. I haven't seen his most recent film, Ambulance, that came out. But I mean, even the Transformers movies are kind of
yeah, but you expect that because
yeah.
you're going into a Transformers,
and it's more balanced, where it's there's levity. It's not all jokes or all serious shit, and it's Transformers, so it's kind of. It can't take itself seriously in the first place because it's giant transforming robots.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, it's
For the most part, though, in the Transformers movies, they do take themselves fairly seriously.
Yeah.
Especially like in the third one. Third one tonally is like straight across the board. Like there's a couple jokes, but it's not like it's not as like comical as like the first one, like
Right.
where Bumblebee like pisses on John Turturro and stuff like that.
His third film.
Third film. Okay, so he was still trying to figure it out.
First film was Bad Boys. Second was The Rock.
Oh yeah, I forgot he did Bad Boys.
Mhm.
And then The Rock. That's right.
And Pearl Harbor's after this.
Yeah. Yeah, The Rock's a good
And that movie
too.
sucks.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've never watched. I watched a.
I thought it was highly regarded.
I think it sucks.
Okay. I like The Rock.
I have nothing on. I've never seen that.
I like The Rock. That's supposedly the last James Bond movie. But anyway, we're getting on top. We're talking about other Michael Bay movies now instead of talking about the one that we need to be talking about. Okay, so what did you guys think of Armageddon? Mike, I know you had never seen it before.
Yeah. It was my first time. I enjoyed it. I don't. The tone, the back and forth of like, or all over the place. The tones was kind of off-putting at times, but I got kind of used to it. Knew to expect funny moments, but yet also serious moments. Kind of, I can't remember the character's name, but the one that gets like space dementia.
Oh, Rockhound.
Like I knew every time he opened it.
Dimension.
Isn't that what they said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's laughable in itself.
Yeah.
He's got space dementia.
got space
He says it like it's
like it's a known thing.
Yeah, like it's a common thing, and he says it like he's just been diagnosed with cancer. He's like, he has space dementia. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
and their solution to it is just duct tape him
just
to the chair.
strapping him to a chair. Most of the action in the movie is great.
I was gonna say this is a good example of the mid to late 90s action movie with actual sets
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like
I did notice a lot of practical.
yeah, like the inside of the shuttle and everything was all practical. The exterior on the asteroid itself was built on a soundstage.
Yeah. And most of the special effects don't even look that bad for being
There was only one.
close to 30 years old at this point.
Well, I think there's two things I noticed. Something hit when they were like debris was flying. One of the I don't know technical terms. One of the shuttle rocket things when they detached, when it exploded.
Oh yeah.
It didn't look good.
Yeah.
And then I can't think of what the other one was. I remember noticing something. I was like, "Oh, that was pretty bad." But overall, it was
overall
really
it's pretty.
Yeah. Overall,
like-
it still looks pretty good.
So like when the ships are flying onto the asteroid, I could tell that most of that was practical. Was that kind of like the Star Wars thing where it was like
Probably
many ships?
Probably,
or
yeah.
whatever.
There were actual models that were used for a lot of the shots. Probably they were used as like tracking shots, and then they went back and like CGI'd like the afterburn of it and everything.
One complaint that I do have, while I think that the action is good and it escalates pretty well, some of the scenes you just like have no idea what's happening because like it's like a Jason Bourne film, like the fucking camera is all over the place. So you're like, how am I supposed to know what is happening here? Especially when like, what is it, Liberty? Is that the name of
The Freedom and the Independence.
Yeah. So whenever the Independence is like basically exploding, whenever it's approaching the meteorite and or the asteroid, and it's like being rained by the debris. That is like almost incomprehensible, like to see what's happening.
Yeah,
because it's like smashing the front of the Independence, and then it's just like when Owen Wilson dies. Yeah, like you have no idea what's happening.
like like when it's like hitting the windshield, and the guy's like, "Oh my god, this is it," and then it like they're like sitting there like calmly, and then the windshield smashes open, and then it's just shots of both of them going, just like screaming till they get sucked out.
Yeah, basically just like, and then it's like smash cuts and things like that.
Yeah, and then there's Owen Wilson like
fly out.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you see Lev and AJ lock themselves in the cargo bay, but Bear and Oscar are still in there, and like you see one of their chairs just like go and just like rotate. But you don't know if it's Bear or Oscar. Like you can't tell who is getting injured because they find Bear under like rubble. So I'm like, was that Bear's chair? Was that Oscar? Like you can't tell.
Yeah, and then the scene where it was kind of be like whenever the Freedom like Owen Wilson Oscar like hits the front of the shuttle and goes flying off.
Yeah,
like that's supposed to be him, but you can't tell who it is because it's like 2 seconds. It's like.
Well, I was actually going to ask you guys which one that was because I didn't catch it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Oscar so that you know, oh, he died during that scene.
Yeah.
And he wasn't.
no, he finds Oscar's body.
Oh, does he?
After it wrecks, he goes over.
Oh, he's still strapped into the chair.
That's right. His mask is cracked open.
You're right.
No, that was I can't remember the two nameless jarheads that were in the that were piloting. They get sucked out. Yeah, because whenever and Bruce, it's kind of funny that you were like you're supposed to like know that that's from the Independence because like Bruce Willis is like, is that the Independence? And then the guy just like smacks against their windshield and rolls off. Oh my God.
Yeah, that's another astronaut that wasn't affiliated with you guys.
Yeah,
that you just ran into.
Yeah, he was just
it was one of ours.
nameless astronaut. I forget. Like, I guess they did name them, but I just didn't.
It doesn't matter.
No, it didn't matter because they never made it to the asteroid.
They literally died at the beginning of the second act. So
yeah,
it doesn't matter. The movie's long.
Yeah,
it's a little too long for my liking.
I was gonna say there's a lot of shit that I feel like I could have done with that.
Yeah, I just sitting down and watching like the last 15 minutes of the movie with you guys, getting ready to record. I noticed that like something bad has to go wrong at every turn.
Yeah,
it's like whenever you finally think that the movie is gonna end, like Bruce Willis gets AJ back onto the shuttle so that he can leave, so that he can detonate the bomb, like. And save everybody. You're like, okay, that's gonna be the climax of the movie. Like that scene was like an emotional hit. That's the climax. And then they can't fucking leave because the shuttle is like not firing. So that's a problem. And then as it's going, Harry's hit with the asteroid or something and goes flying
into the hole.
Yeah, and is unable to. It's like, why couldn't they have just left and he done it? And, you know, like, why do you have to, like, why does everything have to be a life or death situation?
Like, I like that to an extent, you're right, but I like it to an extent because it builds more suspense because...
Yeah,
because at that point, when he pushes AJ back and you're like, oh, there's the end. And then, like, when he gets knocked around, you're like, oh, wait, is it? Like... And then you're like sitting there and you're like, fucking push the button. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It builds a little bit more suspense.
Yeah, I agree. A little bit unnecessary.
It's unnecessary, but it does build up a little bit of suspense.
Yeah, at the end there, like, just push the button. I think that would have been fine. I think because
that's what audiences were collectively saying as they're like watching this scene play out. They're like, just push the fucking button.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I have a terrible memory. I was also texting. But did anybody actually get hurt or die during the refueling at the Russian station?
No.
Okay.
Everybody made it up.
So that's going to bring up my next statement. That whole thing could have just went smoothly and half as long.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
The only reason that happened is so that they could get Lev on the ships with them. Yeah, but
which Lev did come in handy.
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy that shuttle refueling scene. Like, that's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. But you're right. It could have been fine.
Just looking at the movie as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, if I was gonna cut something, like, there's nothing of importance other than picking Lev up.
Yeah.
That happens in that whole thing. So like that could be shortened. He could be like, I'm just fucking come with you.
I mean, it would make sense that he would come with them anyway, because if they don't succeed, I mean, then technically he'd be dead. He'd be dead either way. But if they don't succeed, then odds are the asteroid's just going to come in and slay him right through the space station anyway. So he's like, I got to get the fuck out of here,
right?
So that if we do live, like, I'm not killed anyway.
Yeah.
So like that's how you could have written that rather than
Yeah.
like I said, I do like the scene, but
It could've-
if you were to chop anything
that
out,
could've
that's the way
brought
you
it
could have done it.
much closer to like 2:15 instead
And-
of 2:30.
Some of the training stuff on Earth, like I really like. I like the psych analysis stuff,
Yeah, that
or like the jokes with them in the hospital, like getting physicals. I don't need to see that shit. Or I know that the scene of them like drilling in the water is to show that like AJ's a hotshot and like he's like doesn't listen to the rules, doesn't do things by the book, and that's like
which it also, thinking back on, does nothing for the story. It just shows
at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
it pays off.
Yeah.
Does it pay off though?
Yeah,
because
because
he's a hothead and he convinces Harry to trust him. Like, he learned nothing. He's just like, I know it can do it. And
Well, he's a
like,
hothead.
well, yeah.
And it shows that Harry, thought he was just being a hothead, but it turns out AJ
is right.
knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Right. Even though, yeah, he even says, like, as they're pulling him out of the water, he's like, the computers are wrong, and
Right.
like, we both know the computers are wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's kind of the point of tension between them at that
Yeah, that
point.
whole thing, I actually really liked that whole thing, the whole
Yeah.
Harry and AJ thing.
It definitely builds on their relationship, which isn't necessary, but
Also, you brought up a point when we watched it that AJ and the rest of the crew. AJ, by the way, is played by Ben Affleck. If we didn't go over who was playing who,
We didn't.
And Rockhound is Steve Buscemi's Rockhound. Ben Affleck is AJ. Michael Clark Duncan is Bear. I don't know who Max is. There's a couple characters. Owen Wilson was Oscar, but you already found out he died.
Kind of a minor role.
it literally doesn't do anything in the
And,
movie.
yeah, and the guy who played Chick is famous, and I know him from other stuff, but it's Will something, but I can't remember. Yeah, a lot of famous people, and,
Including.
oh yeah, I'll let you take that one.
Judith Hogue. She
Was
plays the.
Chick's estranged wife.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he told me that. And I was like, no shit. I was like, that's incredible. So, yeah. What was I saying about AJ?
I don't know.
They all get off the rig
Oh,
because
yeah.
they struck oil, so they all get paid, get off the rig, and AJ opens his own
Yeah.
drilling company like within 24 hours
Yeah, that
of being off the rig.
that's one thing that. So they pick up Harry and his daughter. I don't remember her name, played by Liv
Grace.
Tyler. Yeah, they pick them up off of the oil rig to take them to the Pentagon, I guess, or NASA.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, NASA.
that's like, so we know at this point that we have like, what, 19 days before the asteroid hits Earth. And so we can assume that that's like 12, 13 hours. And then it's like, Harry's like, if we're doing this, I want the best of the best. And these are the people that I want. And then it like shows a montage of them picking
We get a
everybody up.
Suicide Squad montage.
Yeah, it was very-
Everybody's name, background, and a scene of what they're doing at the time.
And Harry goes and confronts AJ or like talks to him about it in person. And he allegedly had started his own oil drilling company in like 12 hours because the last time that they talk to each other, it's like
You're fired.
whenever you're fired, and if you want to do things your way, you open your own company.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you open your own company. It's like, bro, it hasn't even been half a day. Like what the fuck?
Maybe he was maybe he was doing it.
I was gonna say,
maybe
it
he
could've been
already was
worse.
like doing
I
it,
don't
and then
I feel like
all right, fuck
I
it,
feel
I'm
like
doing
it's
it.
like, oh, it gives the audience the wrong impression where it's like, oh wow, he's doing his thing. It's like literally it's been 12 hours. Like what the fuck?
There's some guy in the audience going, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna quit my job. It seems easy. I'm just gonna start it up.
I'm gonna start an oil
Seems
drilling
like
business.
tomorrow I can just start it.
Yeah, but I thought that was
I totally missed that whole thing.
Yeah, that was something that Shawn pointed out, and I was like, huh. Yes, he did, didn't he?
yeah. So because
Right.
the way that they bring it up, it's like, oh, the second that he gets off a rig, Chick's at a casino already, and it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it would literally be like the next day.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so that makes sense, and like getting everybody else makes sense. But yeah, that was just
Him
like-
having his own company.
it's like
Yeah.
AJ like oil drilling or some shit like that.
Max is getting a tattoo, which is also unrealistic because I don't think you're gonna find a tattoo artist that does walk-ins.
Maybe.
But you got like Max, and then of course there's when they show Oscar. I have to laugh at this every single time. It's just some dude on a horse with a couple plug shots of Owen Wilson like close up against a green screen.
Yeah.
Because like when you look at the guy riding the horse, it could be anybody. It could literally be anybody. It could be you. Like,
Yeah.
In 1998, it
Yeah.
could have been
it could have just been you.
And then just like cuts to because he's like being chased by helicopters, and
It's
then
a
cuts to him and he's
close-up.
like,
Yeah.
and
And then it cuts back again. It's backlit, so it's just a silhouette. It could be anybody.
That was totally plugged in.
Yeah.
But regardless,
And then Buscemi and the bar telling the girl that, and he's a geologist, by the way, a brilliant geologist, as we find out, and he's telling her that her wedding ring's fake.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
not real.
It's not diamond. Like another drink? Yeah.
Then the FBI show up.
And he turns and goes, "How old are you?"
Yeah.
no, what a horrible.
that running joke with Rock.
Yeah, just Rockhound's character. I mean, he does.
I do love Rockhound's
Oh,
character.
don't get me wrong.
He's
I
probably
enjoy
my
him.
favorite character in the movie.
But he's like a piece of shit, and he gets space cancer and goes crazy on the asteroid. So the only reason that he's even on the like flight is to be like, oh, you fucking landed us at the wrong spot. Basically exposition. Our job just got really fucking hard because of that, and that's all that.
2.5 miles, or what?
26 miles.
26 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like graphite, like iron ferrite block in the asteroid. So it's like, yeah, you fucked us over. And that's like his only purpose in the movie is to just like tell the audience, hey, you thought it was gonna, I don't even know why they thought like, it's like, oh yeah, you're drilling into an asteroid. That's gonna be hard. And he's there to say, oh, you thought it was gonna be hard. It's gonna be much harder. Nobody watching the movie is like, oh, this is way too hard. They should be cutting through that asteroid lickety split. Nobody's gonna think that.
Which, in all honesty, they kind of do. Because
Yeah, still, they
like
still
an
do.
hour goes by, and Harry comes in. He's talking to Colonel Sharp, and he's like, how far are we? And he's like, he says like we're at 85 feet or something like that. And I'm like, well, they did just have to chew through like 70 feet of that shit. So like, of course, now they're gonna be able to chew through.
It's probably softer inside, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's probably a harder shell just based on pressure and especially when it like would slingshot around a star or something like that, that it probably compresses and everything. But yeah, we could talk about the science about that.
I'm
Till
not
the cows
a
come home. I don't wanna discuss it. But yeah, like Rockhound was only there to be like, I'm smart and you're dumb.
Yeah.
This is hard rock.
Yeah, it's like, oh, an asteroid's gonna be hard to cut through. Thanks for the tip. You know?
Yeah.
That's just one thing I realize now. It's like, no layperson watching the movie is gonna know how fucking hard it is to cut through an asteroid in the first place. Why does he have to be like, you thought it was hard? Now it's gonna be really hard. It's like, okay.
Well, and that's the other thing is like the way that it's written, they almost like talk to the audience. Well, I guess in any movie you kind of have to talk to the audience like they're dumb because they are. But like when he's like, you landed us on iron ferrite, which means you landed us on a goddamn iron plate. And it's like, that was for you idiots out there who don't know what iron ferrite is. You know, because we used iron in the name.
Right. To disrupt their communication with Houston.
Yeah.
Was
This is
that plot point?
Yeah.
Another one of the hiccups in the fucking plan.
I think that was all before you came, right?
Yeah.
I brought this up to Aaron. So they can't do radio transmissions, but they can activate the bomb. Like, that signal...
they explained it.
Oh, yeah.
Did
They
they
only
explain-
had it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, they explained it because they can't do like radio transmission, like vocal transmission, but because it's like I don't know if this is the science that they lay out.
Okay.
Because it is a weaker signal, they can bounce their signal off of a satellite to the warhead in order to detonate it remotely that way.
Oh, okay.
So I guess the waves are it's just a simpler version. It's not as taxing. I don't understand, but
Okay.
Yeah, there was like something that like
oh, they said they bounced it off so that they could get a communication window, but because the signal to activate the bomb are weaker, they had a larger window to activate the bomb. That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was like if they lost communication, they would have 5 minutes after they lost communication with them to detonate the bomb.
Oh, okay.
But after that 5-minute window, they may not be able to detonate at all.
Yeah.
So,
Which that leads to, I think, one of the better scenes in the movie where Colonel Sharp is like, he just gets a gun out and he's like getting ready to blow up the bomb.
why you got a gun in space?
Yeah. Why do you have a gun in space? And it's Harry and Colonel Sharp arguing. It's like, why are you listening to taking orders from people that are millions of miles away? I'm the expert here. Like, I know what I'm doing. Just fucking listen to me and we can actually blow this thing up.
Right.
Because, like you said, they were only like 80 feet, 90 feet
Yeah.
drilled into it at that point. So it would have been completely marginal to try and explode the warhead.
Yeah.
It would. I mean, I'm sure the rock would have separated, but probably not enough to clear
You
the
would
planet.
you probably like, and then it makes me think about it too. Like, all right, so like they say, like if you fire a nuke up at it, that it would just keep coming. Which Jason Isaacs, another big name that is in this movie. But it's like, okay, like I understand that because like its velocity is far greater than any explosion. But if you have it on the asteroid right then and there, like it's not coming at it from a different velocity. It's not trying to stop its trajectory. If it's on one side of it and you like wait until it's like its axis is turned, if you blow it up, couldn't it just kind of couldn't that explosion kind of push it in a different direction then?
And
Or at least influence it. So.
Yeah. Like I would imagine that an explosion of that force would just like rocket to like move.
it might be
slightly.
negligible. Like, you know, like we said, none of us are scientists. So, so in theory,
spitballing.
it could work. But at that point, there's no movie. So
Yeah, exactly. They're like, well, yeah. Could you imagine, like, halfway through the second act, they're like, I think it could work, and they're like, let's try it, and they just blow it up, and it goes, and just like misses, and they're like, all right,
yeah,
that's it.
Go on, let's go home. We're great.
yeah. Cut the movie down by an hour and a half.
Nobody had to die senseless death.
Yeah.
Make it an hour comedy. It's fine.
Basically, like in that regard, you could have just slingshot around the moon and drop it,
Yeah.
and like let it sit down there, and then like as you're going past, like detonate it once you've dropped it.
I really like.
I mean, why not have like 4 of them?
Yeah.
Well, that's what Deep Impact is. They
Okay.
like drill in like in different sections, only like 100 feet or something, and then blow it up. But it fails, and they end up still getting hit with a comet, but a smaller piece of the comet. Yeah.
And Morgan Freeman dies.
No, he doesn't. He does not.
At least he doesn't turn into a flash drive.
Yeah, exactly. I really like AJ Lev's and Bear's like side story after like surviving the Independence crash and taking the Land Rover, which has a Gatling gun on it for some odd reason.
Both of them have gas.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know what's gonna be on an asteroid coming from.
Yeah, you think that's
what I mean,
might be
like, what-
aliens on it?
like-
I mean,
That's what my headcanon said, at least.
I was gonna say, like, what guy at NASA, who, when they're putting this together, was like, "What about like asteroid trolls?" And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "I don't know. We don't know anything about it."
that'd be funny.
I mean, there could be aliens on it. Who
Yeah,
knows?
and they're like, "Well, stick Gatling
That
guns
would
on it, I
be-
guess."
that would be a very different movie if like they landed and they were fucking aliens on
When
that.
they first landed on it, I was like, nah, this ain't that kind of movie.
Well, like, and they try to give the asteroid itself some personality, so like
Yeah.
you hear like growling and stuff, which is neat. I mean, like, they do that with shit, like
Yeah.
especially like movies like Dante's Peak and shit like that. Like, the volcano has its own like personality about
Yeah.
it, like it's villainous. But like, yeah, like you hear that growling, and it could have been that. Like, you could have just stuck like
And I thought I heard that, but I didn't realize.
Michael Bay should do a George Lucas special edition of this and like hide Transformers like in like the sections of the asteroid. So like when you watch it, you're like, oh look, there's a prime, like just shit like that.
Yeah, so like it's the Michael Bay universe where like
Everything it's like flush out. Everything's connected.
Armageddon happens in the universe and the basketball sized or the comet that comes and destroys Shanghai, that's like a group of Transformers that
It's just Unicron.
yeah.
Like that's what happens. Like he's in just like in the bay. He just rises up.
If the turtles would have been alien turtles, they could have been from the
I
asteroid.
forgot that he did those.
Yeah, yeah. No. He could do a whole Bayverse. He could.
Sharp
really
is
could.
in the second Turtles movie.
Yeah.
I don't hate those movies.
I
I
don't
don't hate
either.
them either.
Anyway,
Everybody hated the second one. I rather
Second
enjoyed
one's
it.
okay.
they don't have Johnny Knoxville as Leonardo anymore
Yeah. That was
in the second.
I
movie.
forgot that he did Leonardo.
Yeah, in the first movie anyway.
Yeah.
I forget what I was even saying. So.
Gatling guns. We were talking about space
Oh yeah,
trolls.
space aliens, space comet aliens.
We're like rewriting this movie with plot points that we're like that could have been interesting.
It would have been definitely a different movie.
Yeah, but
Oh yeah,
they got to fight off.
I don't know if it would have been held in the regard that it is.
Is this
If
a
it-
highly regarded movie?
I mean, yeah. I mean, like you ask anybody about Armageddon, they're like, oh, yeah, I love that movie. Like,
I'm sure you ask anybody, and they're just like, "Oh, my favorite."
I remember people being like super, like, I don't know what word to put in there, buzzed about this movie. Like there was
I remember
buzz
going to
about
Walmart, the old Walmart, and there was like a cardboard like stand thing at the front of the store that was like now on VHS by Armageddon.
If nothing else, the marketing behind this movie, because I remember like the commercial all the time on TV,
Yeah.
and I really don't remember any other movie ones from back then, but
No, and
I remember this.
and it's so weird because I didn't watch this movie till I was in high school, but like I remember being like, well, I was 4 years old, going into Walmart and like seeing that, and I remember asking my mom, I was like, "What does Armageddon mean?" Because like I had like read it, but I didn't know what it meant. But it's just weird that I like never watched it until I was older, and then it became one of my like favorite cult classics.
Maybe I
favorite
also
movies.
remember this because music is so important to me. Like I remember the music video for "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing."
Oh yeah, where he's wearing like a crow.
Yeah, it,
Like his whole like thing is like made out of like bird feathers.
and as much as I love Aerosmith, holy Aerosmith in this movie.
Oh yeah, no. It was just like they got
They
Liv
did the
Tyler.
whole thing.
They got Liv Tyler, and she's like, "My dad'll do the music." Like,
All of
it.
Well, wasn't
Why
What?
didn't he write a song for Lord of the
I was
Rings?
gonna say, wasn't that song written for this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss a thing was written for Armageddon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I don't know.
Why didn't
Don't think the stylings would fit quite the same.
I don't know.
But yeah, so AJ, Lev, and Bear's like trek across the asteroid. Remarkable, honestly.
Remarkable because they didn't know where the fuck they were or where they were going.
Yeah.
So like it was literally by fate or chance that they ended up by them.
Yeah, exactly where they were. That's convenient.
Yeah,
I'll
extremely
say.
convenient.
But I do like their journey, and like they just like start floating off into space, and they're like, oh fuck, and they fix themselves. They land.
Ah, fuck.
Fuck, we're gonna die.
And then Lev's there to save the day by
I thought Lev was dead.
Oh, and
whenever
Lev
he's, like,
should have been
bouncing
dead.
off the
Yeah.
asteroid and shit.
And it's like rolling through like the rocks. Like Lev should be dead. Lev should be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great character though.
I mean,
Yeah.
but you also got to think about like, because I was thinking he like would be swung everywhere, but there's no gravity, so like I don't know how that shit works. So I just kind of was like, all right, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, the asteroid has a gravitational pull to some extent, but it's going to be like a fraction of what Earth is. So
This is definitely a movie where you just have to shut your brain off.
Yeah.
And have
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
I definitely have.
But like, there's that the famous quote from Ben Affleck where he asks Michael Bay, like, why wouldn't you just train astronauts how to do this job? And he's like, shut the fuck up, Ben. Like, he literally said that to him. But like,
they address it in the movie.
they do, and
that might have been like an added on scene.
Yeah.
Where after like Ben
After he
Affleck
brought
said
it
that,
up.
he's like, okay, I'll write a scene and we'll shoot it. Fucker. Like, it could have been something like that, but they do bring it up in the movie.
Yeah. And honestly, it does make more sense because it's like, okay, you literally have to train them how to put their gear on and how to work it. Other than that, you don't have to teach them anything else about, but like Harry says, like, no spacewalking, none of that shit. And they're like, nah, just drill. Like, and it's like, okay, like they know what they're doing. You put them in that environment and they'll do it. So
Yeah,
it does make more sense than him, because like they had 12 days and it's like, okay, why would you spend 12 days trying to teach these guys how to do this? Because they're gonna get up there and go and they're gonna be like, we got a problem, and it's like, oh well, do you know how to fix it? No. It's like, okay, well, we're all dead.
Yeah, so I can excuse it even though it's really stupid.
What other profession could have saved the world?
Yeah.
Plumber.
Yeah. Let's send a bunch of plumbers up there.
Carpenter.
Maybe.
Just send Harrison Ford. He could have been Harry Stanford.
If you're sending Harrison Ford, just bring him the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Or he'd just fly his own plane.
Yeah, like in Independence Day. Randy Quaid flies his own plane into the asteroid.
But he flew a fighter jet. He didn't fly his fucking crop
Well,
duster.
yeah, that's an alternate ending, you know.
Did he lose crop duster in?
Mhm.
No fucking way. That's insane.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember that.
I do recall reading that now.
They filmed it. Like, there's footage of it.
What?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my
I
God.
feel like I've seen that.
Oh my god, I gotta look this up.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I think I just saw it on Facebook or something one time.
Jesus Christ. That's incredible. Well, that's Roland Emmerich for you.
Yeah.
So basically they hit a shit ton of snags on their way to the climax of the movie where Harry, they all draw straws because the remote detonation, after they finally drill to 800 feet, the remote detonation is damaged because there was a rock storm. So one of them has to stay behind and remote detonate, so they draw straws, and AJ draws the short straw. So Harry takes him down, pulls his O2 hose, and pushes him back into the airlock, like the elevator that goes up, and tells him that he's always been like a son to him. He wants him to marry his daughter, and tells him he loves him, and sends him back up. Which is a very emotional scene.
Yeah.
That was a good scene.
Yeah, it was a very good scene. And then, like, it was funny because when we were watching it, I was like, this is the end of the movie. And then I was like, no, there's like 15 more fucking minutes of like
Exactly.
shit happening.
Like, that should be like the emotional point of the movie. Everything else goes out without a hitch. We're left with Bruce Willis's sacrifice, and we don't have to deal with all this other bullshit.
Yeah, I think that's a better ending.
It should have been done right there, but then you wouldn't have had him talking to Grace.
Nah, I don't fucking care.
You can still do that.
Yeah. You didn't have to have the other rock storm happen. There was no need for that. The shuttle, as much as
You could have the trouble with like getting the shuttle started.
Yeah, because I mean that's where like Lev comes in as comedic.
Beats the hell out of
Yeah, where he's like, why are we not leaving? Why are we not leaving? And then they're like, then she goes to like fix it, and he's like, Jesus Christ, and just like takes like his seatbelt off and goes,
Not again.
and then just smashes it with a wrench until it starts up.
Speaking of Bruce Willis, I think that this is, you and I have talked about this. This is like one of the last movies where you could actually tell that he gave a fuck about like acting. And obviously, we have to bring up the unfortunate, diagnosis that he has now. But in recent years, he's been doing a lot of bullshit that you can tell that he's just doing it for money.
Which he must have had that diagnosis. At least that's what I read. Like, he kind of knew it was coming, or it was getting worse. Yeah, and I think that somebody's reported that's why he did a bunch of kind of money grab.
Yeah, but even before that, like movies that came out around the time of like Red and Red 2, like you could tell that he just doesn't really give a shit.
Okay.
But like in this one, I like it too, but it's just I feel like he's not really giving it his all. And this one, it actually feels like he gives a shit about the movie, because this is 30 years ago, so maybe he's actually did at this point. But yeah, it's nice to see Bruce Willis actually trying again.
It's not 30 yet.
Well, it's close.
It's 20.
I can't do complex math. But yeah, that I just wanted to bring that up because it's nice to see Bruce Willis actually doing a good job in a movie.
Yeah.
Now, I was paying attention at the end, but I feel like I either missed something or maybe they don't show it. When they dug, is the bomb down there?
Yeah.
So how do you hook up the remote detonator?
It's probably like corded or something like that. They probably had like a cord that they hooked.
But how do you hook it 800 feet away?
No, I mean, it probably was like on like a cord that attached to another port on the bomb. They already had it in the hole when he went out. So I don't know if it was... you know what it was? He was carrying like a box with him that probably had a short-range transmitter for up to like 800 feet or something that would probably trigger it. I don't know.
Well, because like when they who handed the
Colonel
Sharp,
yeah.
When he handed it and was explaining it, he said you have to plug this into something,
into the port, and then So I don't know if it was.
I took it as the port was on the bomb.
that makes sense.
Bruce Willis have to climb into the hole and.
Well, that's what I thought. He was gonna have to like descend down this like narrow like fucking shaft.
The movie would have been like a half hour longer if he's gonna have to go down there. It would have just been like Die Hard-esque shots of him like crawling down this hole.
That'd be funny, actually.
So I don't know. I guess there's probably a cord already 800 feet long. I don't fucking know.
It seems like a waste of a
cord. I know. That part confused me. I don't know what the...
What if they just like opened up like the cap to expose the warhead, just pushed it like random off the shuttle, take off, and like once it hits.
That could work. And then he'd still be alive.
It's like fucking Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it's like going like gong gong. It like has like Henry's first shots of it like knocking against the sides on its way down, and everyone's like,
and it's like it like goes down, and all you hear is like they start running, and you just hear like it's like descending.
And Harry blows up the bomb and literally like not a second too soon before the point of no return.
Literally.
And
quite literally. The buzzer beater.
The two sides of the asteroid miss the Earth.
I just thought about it, like the way they could have drawn it out is they're like presses the button and it goes past zero barrier and they're like, what happened? And Harry's like, it didn't go, and they're like, turn around, and they like turn the shuttle back.
We gotta push the asteroid back.
No, at this point they're like, we gotta go back in time and then turn the remote detonator back on at precisely this moment. There'd have been some bullshit. But
bullshit indeed.
Yeah, and that's the end. They saved the day.
Yeah.
Saved the world.
Well, then the AJ and
Grace get
Liv
married.
Tyler get married.
Yep. And Lev shows up in his Soviet colonel uniform, which I never noticed. I never paid any attention to like the wedding video that was happening in the background, and like I was like, there's Lev in his uniform, and then like Bear's like eating like the top of the cake or something like that.
What was his purpose?
Bear?
Yeah. Did he? Because we were talking about.
Yeah, like the point.
He carried pipe.
Yeah, he carried like Like
Yeah, when he was
Is that what he
holding
was-
the like
yeah, he's just a big
Yeah.
guy who
Alright.
knows.
yeah, like at the very beginning when you're introduced to Bear, he's just like this hulking
Yeah,
guy standing with a wrench. That
I mean, that
probably
dude
weighs
is
like
very
90
big.
pounds. Oh yeah, yeah. He's a big dude. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
Okay.
He died like in what 2012, 2013.
Quite a while ago.
Yeah,
Oh wow.
he had a heart attack.
He's a big guy,
He
so
was a very big guy.
strenuous on the organs.
Yeah, it doesn't pay off to be a bodybuilder.
No.
Nope, it does not. Pays for a little bit,
Yeah,
but when you get older, your entire body's like, yo, fuck you.
that's why the wrestlers have gotten smaller.
Yeah. Sticking to more.
And then there's
natural.
also steroids, but whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to be like Brock Lesnar, you take the steroid.
Yeah. I don't think Lesnar takes steroids.
Yeah, you're right. He probably is just like that.
He's just a crazy guy.
He's just a monster.
Anyway.
Is that about all we have to say?
That is, I think
Yeah.
that's about it.
Rating time.
Music's good too.
Music's pretty good.
Like aside from the
As much as I love
aside from the
Aerosmith, I was like, really? Another fucking Aerosmith song?
yeah, it was like it's like with Dune when Toto did the music,
No.
or like,
I mean, that was an interesting choice.
but like, or like Queen doing Flash
Yeah.
Gordon. Like this movie was like brought to you by Aerosmith.
yeah, exactly.
And it was probably because like Michael Bay got Liv Tyler, and then they were probably like in the middle of it, and he's like, "Hey, you think your dad would do the music for like a discount rate since you're in the movie?" Like, and then they're like, "Yeah, just fill it with like I have the album for Armageddon, and 90% of it
Oh, yeah.
is fucking."
I mean, I could tell from the
Aerosmith.
movie.
There's one John Denver song that's not even by John Denver. It's the cover of because over the credits after I Don't Want to Miss a Thing plays, it's Leaving on a Jet Plane, but it's a cover that's on there, and then
Is it by somebody, like, specific?
probably, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah, it's that scene where Ben Affleck just starts horribly singing it. It's
Armageddon
great.
album. Track listing.
And then there's like one track on it that's the theme from Armageddon.
Oh, there's
by-
Remember Me by Journey.
Oh yeah, right.
I forgot about this, but Lagrange by ZZ Top.
Oh yeah, when he's when you're introduced to Harry.
Yeah. Roll Me Away by Bob Seger. I don't know that song. What song were you talking about?
Leave It on a Jet Plane.
Leave My Jet Plane. It was written by, like you said, John Denver
Yeah.
and Chantel Creve.
That's probably who was saying it.
Zach?
Yeah, that's
I
probably
don't
who was saying it. I don't know who the hell that
I
was.
have never heard of that name. Anyway.
But yeah, and then there's one track actually from the movie where it's just like, and that's a weird like thing from the 90s. It's like you can't like, because I tried for this movie and the Roland Emmerich Godzilla. Each album has like one or two tracks of the actual movie score. The rest are all the songs, and that's the same with Godzilla the album. So it was like all the songs that were even like briefly played in the movie, and then like two tracks of the actual score. I don't know. It was a weird trend. Remember when movies had albums?
I think the last one that came out was probably the Guardians of the Galaxy mixtapes.
Guardians or
Oh, yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I know Suicide Squad. Because Suicide Squad was really trying to cash in on what Guardians did.
Yeah. Just a random music note. Our Lady Peace was on there. The band.
Oh.
Like, it's all like classic rock, and then there's Our Lady Peace. Anyway.
Huh.
So.
Interesting, yeah. a lot of interesting musical choices. And I guess the guy who did the score for this movie did National Treasure
Right.
as well.
That's a great score too. National Treasure.
This has a good score too.
Yeah.
Like the music when they were doing the liftoff.
Oh,
the
yeah,
shuttles. Great. Very memorable theme. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's about all we have. Rating time.
Yeah.
Somebody go.
We need structure than
7 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm gonna second it. This is I if you had asked my high school self, my 14, 15-year-old self who just discovered this movie and like loved the shit out of it, I'd have been like 9 out of 10. But I mean, watching it like
There's some flaws.
oh, there's definitely there's a lot of flaws, but all around it is a highly entertaining movie.
It is that.
It's definitely like something.
Albeit being 2.5 hours
Yeah.
long.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely long.
But it's definitely something that like we watched it on Prime. If it shows up for free on a streaming service or something, I'm gonna watch it. If I'm bored on a Saturday or something, and I'm just like, Armageddon's on here, I'm gonna watch it. Like, yeah.
It was on Tubi for free, but that has ads, so I rented it.
Yeah.
But, I'm gonna echo the 7 out of 10. I can't give it anything less, but I really can't give it anything more because length and everything else. So
I forgot, and this is where we can plug a picture of it in. I got my picture taken with the bomb from Armageddon at Disney World. I met the bomb that was in.
I know Armageddon. I got the bomb. Okay.
Shawn and I met Judith Hogue. So.
You guys did. That's true. Well, looks like we've all met somebody from the movie.
There we go.
That's true. I wonder if I've seen anybody else in the movie. Well, I don't think so.
I saw Bruce Willis at the grocery store one time.
What?
He said, "Who are you?"
He said,
Oh, yikes.
Anyway. That does it for Armageddon. We have another recommendation coming to you from myself this week. I wasn't really thinking about this, but I guess it's between two movies for me right now. And
Do them both?
no, I don't think so. They're not related anyway. I guess we'll do this one. This is one of my favorite movies. It's going to be another film by the Coen brothers. We've watched one of theirs already in a recommendation. My recommendation is going to be Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I've never seen this.
Oh,
Never seen this movie. I've wanted to watch it
it's
for a
not
while.
very often that I've seen something that you guys haven't.
Yeah.
No,
I've never seen. I've wanted to watch it. It's been on my watch list. So good.
I really like this movie.
Yeah,
And
it's
is it?
excellent.
It's on Netflix and HBO Max, I think. Isn't
It's on
one of the
It's
two.
on Amazon Prime. I don't
Oh,
know if
okay,
it's on
okay.
anything else, but
Yeah.
yeah. So if you don't want to be spoiled for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, before next week or next episode, I guess I should say, make sure to watch it because we'll be having a spoiler discussion about it. I hope you enjoyed our conversation about Armageddon. I know we sure enjoyed having it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you in the next one, guys. I don't want to close my eyes. I don't want to fall asleep.